All right.
That's a beautiful classic. I love that one. So
Thank,
pretty.
thank you. Yeah, sometimes I just feel that one and it reaches in and squeezes my heart. And I know if it squeezes and I burst into tears when I hear it, then all right, that's gonna be one of the ones. So um, well, I had a thought that continued yesterday, actually probably early this morning. Um, but I was on the way, well, backing up a little bit. Um, Probably all of you know because I'm always talking about just the things that nobody wants to hear. But my body has been changing and going through different, like severe pains. And so to try to turn that around, they put me on a low dose birth control, a low dose hormone, basically. So I'm on my third month of that. And what I'm noticing is I feel like a teenager sometimes. So stupid. And I notice that I'm craving things like sweet chocolatey things when it's getting close that, that time. And I never have that. And I'm savory and salty and oil. I like that. And I notice that. And I notice that, I don't know, I feel like a teenager. I'm super emotional, and so that's where I was on the way here. Yeah, I was so tired and I thought, "Okay, so in a few days, according to the pills, right, I should have a period coming so I'm really tender, I'm just tired and I just wanna cry because 'cause I'm so tired." Baby, baby. I noticed this twice now. So it was crazy on the way here, but just before I was so worn out and so tired, my body's like, man, we cannot keep going today. And it was Friday, so Wes was able to get off early, which does not happen in this job. Peyton was home at the same time. I had to work, it messed up the thing. So anyway, we're all basically leaving at the same time. Danny had basketball on Friday. She doesn't have basketball on Friday. And on the way here, I was just tired. And then because the boys were done, Peyton was able to get a shower and clean his lovely locks, so they ended up not being far behind us on the road. And I just felt teary gratitude. But first I felt tired. And then I was thinking, thank goodness for I said I feel limited. But then immediately I was like, thank you for my limits because I was it was real. I wasn't just doing that weird positive Christian thing, I was thankful for the limits because I was able to just say, I need help today, guys. I need you to be there when I'm there and I need help. And they were able to respond. And so that's where the gratitude was that I had the limits and then there was someone there to help me with my limits. And this is the second time I usually, I'm just like, well, I'm hurting. I can't go any further. Um, but to feel just tearful about being tired and, and hurting is different. That happened last month too, I think it was. I just thought, I don't have the power to push through. And I felt tearful about it. So different and weird. Um, anyway, so that continued to a thought yesterday where I was reminded sitting where we are in this exact spot with no hookups. And I looked up and I was like, wait a minute. The dream for this was born back when I was nursing Danny. So I stopped at 11 months. So somewhere in that first year, we'd come back to Southern California and we were at this Carpinteria Beach for the first time and she was nursing and I was just tired that day. We were right here at the end of, is it Linden? And somebody had a small little, like the Toyota truck RV, it's a small little thing, they're old and somebody had one of those. They're called a Dolphin, right? And I said, guys, do you understand? This dream started when Danny was a baby. And I saw that and I was like, I have to do that. Mike, I need to do that for my kids. I need a place for them to take a nap. I need a place for them to get out of the weather, whether it's too hot or too cold. I need a place for them to just rest. I need a place to make them lunch and they're safe in the building while I'm making them lunch, not running around in the sand, whatever, getting lost, who knows. I need to do that for my family. I want that to be the thing we do. That way back then. And so then to be here in this moment in that spot, it's like, oh my gosh, God really hears prayers. He really does. But thinking about limits, how limits I do believe are a blessing, even though I don't feel like it in the moment. We can't enjoy vacation forever. We have to eventually leave. We can't go forever. We have to eventually sleep. We can't, push through pain. Eventually we have to stop. There's this rhythm, this natural rhythm that we have, and women are built with a solid rhythm every month, aren't we? We are limited in what we can do and how we can do it, and that's in the Bible. So anyway, the reason I'm able to do this is because the limits that my body has. I was thinking of Jacob in Genesis because my hip and back is the problem from the military and all the military stuff. Well, that pushed me to say, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it. So only in 2020, we've been out of the military since 2005. Yes. But 2020, I started with the VA process of getting a claim to get assistance, it limits me. And it's only because of that limit and tapping out and saying I can't go any further that I was given a claim that's what pays for this. So it's like this whole system of how limits work and how God was able to come through and just really hear me a deep, like, I have to do that for my family. And it's been life-saving for our family, the schedule and the things, um but limits and how they're so important. And then my next thought was the limits remind us that we're not God. They're important, and they not only remind us that we're not God, because we're built in God's image, but we are not God. So then the limits remind us to talk to him. Hey, this is my favorite place. I know Judy loved Jamaica and the surfers that come to her on the beach. Like, but we can't live there forever. And that reminds us to go to God in even that type of moment. Can I do that again? Thank you for that. Thank you. That was the best thing I've ever done. Could we do it again sometime? Could you help me save? Like the limits keep us going back to God, even though they're not fun in the moment, whether it's pain or whatever, hardship. Otherwise, we'd just keep going like robots. We'd push through. We wouldn't sleep. We wouldn't take care of ourselves. But limits are God-giving. And I just was thinking about that, how God shows up in our rhythms of limits. So anyway, maybe that means something to you, maybe it doesn't, but it meant a whole great deal to me, and to see how God has come through because of the limits, because of the I can't go anymore. I can't push through this particular moment, or I'm just gonna sit down and cry. And even that's a limit. And even that is, a moment to say, man, God, I'm tired. We reach out to God more when we're at the end of a road. So anyway, that's my thought for today, is why Jacob had that crick in his hip. I think that was a God-given gift. And it was in that wrestle, Jacob and Esau, it was in the wrestle that he refused to let go of the angel, which is a man of God, a representative of God. He refused to let go. And so the angel touched his hip and gave him a crick in his hip. It was out. He had trouble from then on. He had a limp, a gimp in his step. And but he said, I'm not letting go until you give me a blessing. He had to come to God hard. But if you read right before it, he had all the fancy plans of, I'm going to send this group and this group and this group to my brother because I don't want my brother to kill me. And then, yeah, God, what do you have to say about it? Jacob was a real character when you really notice him. He always had his scheme, and then he's like, oh yeah, God, but you said, remember, you're going to do, which is very human. So anyway, that's what I've been thinking about is how God came to Jacob, gave him that reminder of why he has to keep going to God. And then those are our reminders too, the limit, the gimp in our step, the pain, the exhaustion, the whatever it is. And I think women are especially connected because of their monthly limits. It does place limits on us, doesn't it? We are beat up because of that. And I think that's a gift, even though it doesn't seem like it. So anyway, that's my thought. I'll be quiet. Thank you for listening. And I will, I guess, did anybody else want to pray? Do you want to pray? Great. And then we'll play the next song. All right,
All right.
here we go.
God, thanks for this morning, for letting us wake up and all be here. Thank you for the beauty and our presence here on your just wonderful nature and the ocean sounds and the birds chirping. And it's just a reminder for me that you are amazing and you created all this. Sometimes I can't believe it because it's just so amazing. But it's that's the hope we have in you. Thanks for the reminder of limits. Um, you know, sometimes I can think, well, we can be limitless. However, that's not true. That's not true. That's not at all. That's when destruction happens and we burn out and all the things. You remind us we're not limitless. We're not supposed to be, and that's the beauty of it. I don't want to be limitless. I'm not you. Can aspire to be like you. We all can, but we have to know our limits, and that's important. Thank you for allowing us to have limits. I don't know what it would be like if we were limitless. I wouldn't want to experience it. But thank you for just giving us the hope that we have a after our limited time here is done, that we have just another experience with you in beauty. Little sips of beauty we have here on earth to remind us of the beauty we have to come, and its greatness is so wonderful. So thank you for dying on the cross for us and for loving us, for limited selves and with our flaws and all the things, God. We are flawed, but our hearts are flawless in you. And remember that, Jesus, for the gift you gave to us. In your name we pray, amen.
For communion again.